Hey guys, Vaza here from Eden Eternal. Today I'm going to be discussing a guide for Blade Acrobat for this game for running gold. So please note that I had an older guide made in 2017 at around patch 23. That guide is outdated because we are on patch 45 right now. But however, that guide mentions most things about the class, the basic things like the skills, what you need to use more often, etc. So make sure you check that guide first if you do not know anything about Blade Acrobat. Otherwise, let's move on to this guide. Moving on to knowledge point. You can see here I have a knowledge point based on PvP. You have to know that I am a PvP player and also that PvP builds always out damages or outclasses PvE builds. So I do not have to change my knowledge point for doing this guide. Note also that I have my achievements done, therefore I'm not using any crit damage certificates, any stat certificates mostly about strength and crit rate, and I do not need things like crit damage or attack speed or anything. Some people may not have those achievements done. They can put crit damage KP. They can also use stardom KP depending on the playstyle. This totally depends on them. Please also note that this KP that I'm using right now is made for this set, the Cyclone Brigandine set, which is a PvP set which I was testing based on elemental prolongation, which increases your proc rate chance for double hits and triple hits. In this guy I will be using the Master Hunting Brigandine because I need higher crit rate for PvE. If you're mobbing or something like Dragon Side Rage or Dimension of Souls, you're free to use Agi sets, but any set works for you as long as you can build the basics right. You can also go for sets like Sunhound or Flame Bearers. It totally depends on you, what build, what you find it works best for you. Let's move on to the certificates now. 4 orange certificates is very important on Blade Acrobat or any one-edge class, the class that use one-handed weapons that is, because the boost it gives by increasing the weapon attack by 8%. Therefore for Blade Acrobat we will be using the 4 orange certificates. These include the P attack, the crit rate, the strength and the double hit. However, the most important ones are the P attack one and the double hit one, especially if you are a more damage focused player. The ones you can change are crit rate 1 and strength 1. The reason I'm using strength 1 was mostly to give a little bit of P attack, which does not really matter, but as well as since Knuckle Bracer, this shield, decreases your block. So since I'm using an Agi set on PvP, I have low block, therefore it's important for me to be using strength certificate to get that block down, because with the increased cap, block is very hard to get, especially when you're using the Knuckle Bracer. The crit rate certificate is totally not needed because Sword Dance gives you crit rate increase, but however for PvE I like having a higher base crit rate, therefore it wipes mobs faster, it gives me more consistency. The 3 other certificates that I'm using are the Inquisitor heal certificate, which at endgame mostly you will be using that for grinding or mobbing. It helps a lot, especially when there's a lot of mobs. It heals you by a lot of HP if you're hitting a lot of mobs. The second certificate is the attack increase for Inquisitor, which also increases your base P attack just like this certificate, therefore giving you more damage. The movement certificate is also necessary in grinding gold because it permits you to move faster throughout the dungeon. Since you're moving faster, you will also be doing the dungeons faster. This will help you to get gold at a more consistent rate rather than not having movement speed. However, if you're grinding somewhere like Dragon Side Rage, let's say, you're going to be using something like this instead because the mobs there hit very hard, therefore you will need more reduction. Now moving on to the weapon. Why I use Knuckle Bracer instead of using something like the Archangel Punishment, like the club has the highest 1 HP attack, why don't I use this? You see, I have more P attack right here, like 316k is more than the P attack that I have than Knuckle Bracer. The reason is Knuckle Bracer has a misconception that it only gives you 50% damage dealt on auto attacks, which is false. It also gives you P damage dealt by 50%, and it also increases your P attack. So since damage dealt is more scaled better than P attack, it's much better than to use Knuckle Bracer instead of using 2 times one-handed weapon. Another reason is when you use 2 times one-handed weapon, you die faster because you do not have any parry. So using a shield won't give you parry, of course, but using a shield gives you block, and blocks negates all damage you receive if it procs. So if you proc a block when someone is hitting you or a mob is hitting you, you completely negate the damage. This increases your survival rate as well. Therefore, I'll be using Knuckle Bracer here for this guy. You can use the Sword of Elegance if you wish to hit mobs at a higher range. Sometimes mobs are scattered, therefore it's best to use Sword of Elegance to get the mobs hit. The glyph is very important, the Mystic Sword Dance glyph. That's very important for you to use because it increases your range for sword dance, as it is a main grinding skill. Here I'll be just using the Excalibur because Excalibur gives elemental damage, which increases your proc rate, as I said before. It also decreases your enemy's slash resistance, which therefore increases your damage dealt by a lot. Other than that, the types of gems that I'm using is Courage, Lightning Strike. You can see mostly of my set is filled up with Courage, Lightning Strike. Apart from my RG set, it's full of triple hit and double hit gems mostly, or elemental gems. This really depends on your build. The Courage gems were mostly made at cap 100, therefore we did not have much trouble getting stats at that time, since stat decreases as you level, but you get more damage dealt. So I'm using Courage Flame Strike, I just kept it, and in PvP I already get a lot of buffs and cap it anyway, so I don't need to change them. However, if you do not have crit rate, you're free to use Fortune, Luck, Accuracy gems, Fortune, Luck, Fatal gems. This totally depends on you. Any build totally works. Like I said, there's no best, there's no better. Some builds might have a slight edge over the others, that's true, but for now we are going to be using the Monster Hunting Brigand. The trait really doesn't matter. Of course, increased P attack gives you a little bit of more damage. If you think you can't survive enough, you're free to use Guardian trait. Moving on to the accessories now, you can see I'm using Cerberus here. Cerberus is a general good build to use, as it gives you elemental resistance, it gives you a base P attack, it gives you strength, it gives you double hit and triple hits. So for Blade Acrobat, however, you do not need that. You can remove the Thief Ring because that double hit only works on normal attack. The Tag Necklace is pretty nice, 5% chances to triple hit. This works on skills as well, so it's very nice to have that necklace at least. The Cerberus Razor Ring is totally up to you. If it procs, it gives you a higher boost, a good boost. 15k attack is pretty good to use, so it's really up to you. If you do not have Cerberus Ring done, Cerberus set done, since GOP is pretty hard to do for newer players, it doesn't matter. You can use other things like Sadness Ring, Temple Night Ring, or you can use something like reduction of defenses, primal speed, which will give you a bit of resistance. You can use Million Necklace, Heaven Fire Ring, which will decrease defense. This come in handy when you're helping the party do damage as well. But for now we are going just to keep the Cerberus one, as it gives us a nice base. The Bloodthirst Fanatic Cape, the reason I use that because it's a typo. This also works on skills and not normal attack, but some people ask me why I don't use Wireblue Cape, I use that instead. The reason is because resistance is very good to get at endgame. It is very easy to get at endgame, therefore you do not need that 8 fire resistance much. However, if you do not have that fire resistance, you can put it, but you have to know there's something called white stats and green stats. Bloodthirst Fanatic Cape gives you white stats, therefore the white stats multipliers in PvP. That 832 HP is actually at around 8k HP in PvP, therefore it's best to use this. The trophy that I'm using here is Mr. Screaming Blade. This trophy is pretty good. It gives you a base crit rate, it gives nature damage which increases your proc rate. It also gives a proc of triple hit damage. If that procs, it's a lot of damage. Kimba, however, is not needed because Blade Acrobat already gets a lot of P attack. As you can see, Sword Dance gives you P attack, Dark Knight Dance gives you P attack, Magical Rhythm gives you P attack. Therefore, you do not really need to use Kimba trophy, as it's just a plain P attack and P crit rate increase trophy. You don't really need to use that. You can just remove it and use something like Venom's Twister Web, which increases the range of Sword Dance even more. And using something like this gives you a really big range of wiping mobs. Therefore, it's very good when mobs are scattered. You can use Sword of Elegance along with this trophy. It helps to kill them at a longer range. So for now, I'm just going to keep this one, but I'm going to keep Venom's Twister, or as well as I can just change it to Green's Power Cube if I want to kill faster. So let's just change that first for now. So we will be using this build here for this guide. I'll be going into the dungeon called Crystal Utopian Realm. Sorry. There's also the other dungeons from Shaxia, as well as the dungeons from the Roaming Hills, which is called Palace of Dreams. All of these dungeons are very good to grind gold. I'm just gonna kill mobs. I'm not gonna sell everything. As you can see, I don't have backspace here, so backspace, sorry. So yeah, let's move on to going into the dungeon now. Before going into the dungeon, you have to buff yourself. It's generally considered to have someone buff you first. For example, you have your couple. It's best if you have a couple doing it because they can couple buff you with 15% movement speed increase, but you don't really need that. Let's just move to buffing us with classes that mostly increases your movement speed, which would be like Bard, which would be Totem Master and stuff. So here I'm in Life Worshipper. I'll be buffing here, going to normal Bard. I will be putting this buff here. I'll be going to Shaman, making sure that I have this KP. Just ignore this KP and certificate I have here, it's just random. And just buff it here. Going back to my other account, you can see I have 94% movement speed, which is a pretty nice movement speed. So let's run into the dungeon. Generally in the dungeon, you would want to keep Victory Dance up because it gives a bit of P attack raise, which always helps. It has a long duration too, so it's nice to use it every now and then. This dungeon is a bit like Shaxia. It's just some mobs were replaced. It's a new grinding map. You also get a lot of movement speed, so you can see it's 134, sorry, the movement speed here. So putting my buffs up, every now and then when you reach a boss, just put Encourage buff up because it gives you that 15% double hit. But the thing that you need to use more is Magical Rhythm, of course. So here, just one-shotting mobs like this. You can see it only hit the mob right here instead of the mobs like right here. So in case you see that this is happening too often, you can just put Venom Twister like this, and then what happens is you can do from a distance like here. You see I hit the mob from a greater distance than before. So for now, let's just keep Venom Twister. See, just kill mobs like this. You can guide them all, go faster of course, but here, since I'm making the guide, I'm mostly focusing on here, like that. Really depends on how you play. During PvP, I mostly focus on using Dark Knight Dance. I tend to forget to use that on PvE, but you can use that on bosses. Just hit the mobs like this. Just move out, hit them like this, one-shot them. See, I'm moving very fast. At the same time, I'm doing a lot of damage. Therefore, I just do this. I hit one time and then I put electrifying rhythm and then I hit again. If I want to, I can just boost up a bit of crit by using complete support potion, because this is very easy to get. Just hit mobs like this here. Just hit them. And keep on going like this. There's not that much that you need to know about all this because it's mostly like Shaxia. Just keep on killing. Just grind mobs as quickly as you can. Just keep going because these are the items which you will be selling because they sell a lot. Just kill them like that. The mobs tend to lag because it's a texture from another game, mostly Oracle Kingdom, Twin Saga and stuff like that. So you might have a bit of lag during this boss like I'm having right now. Other than that, just go through it. Any dungeon is totally fine. Keep killing them. And in case you're not like wasting any time, you have more movement speed, you have couple buffs and stuff, you have more crit, you will be doing this even faster. So at most people do this in like 3 to 4 minutes per dungeon. It's really effective. And see, as soon as I put the first damage buff, the mobs just get one-shotted, just like that. I don't need to wipe them one by one, I can just hit them like this, move, put my buff up, and then put this buff up. Now hit one time, put electrifying rhythm, and then keep on doing like this. As you can see, that is a lot of damage, and if my things actually proc, I might be able to two-shot bosses sometimes too. So this is a very endgame guide, therefore you will need all of these to be able to even clear so fast. I'm not gonna pick them up right now, I'm not going to waste time on this. We're just showing you that you need to clear your backpack and then just do this. See, not much has passed by and I'm already clearing up the mobs, the bosses, not really wasting time. On top of that, at endgame, you can see I barely even need to use something to heal myself. Just a trophy or anything, I don't need to use that. Just this certificate is doing it all for me. This is very at endgame, however you should always aim to come at this level of grinding whatever you do. Notice that there's plenty of ways to do this dungeon. I'm used to doing it on this way, so you do it your own way. There's no really best way. Whatever is faster works best for you. Any of them is fine. Put the buff again, sword dance, put electrifying rhythm, sword dance, like this, just killing. And you see I'm surviving despite I do not have evasion or anything. They decrease my stuff here, my stats because of that debuff. But other than that, it's not really much of a big deal. And see, just hitting them like this, putting the Dark Knight dance, keep on moving. Just clear these mobs up for some extra drops. Obviously you will need to be in a party drop for that to increase drop rate, so that's good for gold grinding. Now here's the last boss, Kitami. Now let's put on our full buffs. Let's go. You can see the first hit did not really crit because the crit rate was a bit low. So if you want to always crit, you can increase that if you're just the PvE player, just grinding and stuff. And you see the dungeon is pretty much done. There's nothing much that I have to do. I can just go, rebuff myself. If I need my buffs run out, I just go here, rebuff myself like that. Put these buffs up. change back to my account. Now let's move on to Palace of Dreams, for example. Moving on to Even. Now find Roaming Hills. Roaming Hills is here. Just find where Palace of Dreams is located and just run there. Go to routing there. Oops, this map work. Other than that, guys, this is mostly for Blade Acrobat. There are many other classes like Mecha RS as well can run as fast, but Blade Acrobat is mostly a brain dead type of class where you can just put a buff up, put 1 key or 2 key and then just start killing. So therefore Blade Acrobat is mostly recommended at endgame grinding. It's good for beginners as well, but however beginners will have to use things like stun more. They will need to use things that restore their HP more often, for example cook wolf meat. They might need Robo Trophy to heal themselves. For example, let's find Stormo Trophy. I need things like that. This is mostly for beginners. Like I said, this guide is an endgame guide for people to grind gold. Most people grind Palace of Dreams, just kill mobs just the same way as the other one. This one is actually even easier to grind than the other dungeon, as you just one-shot them like this. Since they are scattered, I don't really need to be putting my Awakening Sword. I can just go at the max range. See, the range is very big, and the damage is not that much of a difference. So just keep on going like this, keep on grinding. If they didn't die, that's totally fine. Just guide them, get them here, guide them. Once most of them here, make sure that there is no one that is resetting. They're no resetted. Swagging like this, and as the item drops you pick them up and you keep on going. You will notice that I'm not really putting magical rhythm much here because it's not really needed. They're just getting one-shotted. So magical rhythm is just like where you have to actually put it in like bosses and stuff. Otherwise just press 1 key and just move. You will be one-shotting everything in your way, you see. Everything just dies. If you want to press another key, try a bit harder, just put it like this and just one shot and move faster. There's nothing wrong about it. Keep on moving it. See, I cleared all mobs. It's very fast. Now we'll be approaching more towards the bosses, which are not hard at all, as this is a very easy dungeon to grind. There are many dungeons that you can grind. There is Verona Vale, there's lower level dungeons. You can get a lot depending on how much time you have. Otherwise just do 2 dungeons times 10 a day. You're pretty much good to go every day. Just get a bit of gold. Both dungeons can get you at around 20k gold. You will be good at that. Some people prefer using Soaking Trophy to increase drop rate. You can use that to increase your drop rates and get more drops. It's totally up to you. But yeah, in general, after this dungeon I'm going to be completing the guide, but I hope I pointed out more the important things that you need to know about this class. In case you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I will reply whenever I can. Otherwise just ask it in game or on my Discord. I'm on the VGen Discord. You will find that on my website. I will also link the VGen Discord in the link below. Don't worry about that. Other than that, thank you for watching my guide, guys. I hope you have a nice day. Oh, what a way to enjoy that guide. My game crashed. Okay, well, never mind. Let's end this guide here. Thank you guys. See you later.